Hi everybody, my name is Amber and I'm doing my persuasive speech on how animals feel. Um, do you love animals or do you just love your pets? I want you to think about it the next time you pay admissions to enter a park that promotes the captivity of animals, or maybe the next time you order, a big juicy burger or a piece of chicken, and really think about the animals and how it feels to be them. Um, I remember when I was around 5 or 6, I went to SeaWorld for the first time with my parents, and we went to go see the Shamu show, but we were early, so the whales were swimming around in the pool, and I got up really close to the glass, and one swam by and made eye contact with me, and I just felt so sad for them. And that's when I realized that there's somebody there, like somebody is looking back at you, and they feel the same things that we feel. Animals feel empathy and consciousness and prove that they do every single day. In Simon Worrell's article, Yes, Animals Think and Feel, Here's How We Know, Worrell is interviewing author Carl Safina in National Geographic and tells us about how animals, especially elephants and orca whales, continually show that they feel emotions and have very social, active lives. Life for animals is very similar to our lives, especially in wildlife species. They're competitive, structured, and their whole beings are based off the bonds that they have with each other. And we can even see this in our pets. Cats and dogs need very active lives where they can build relationships with us and other animals, and we can identify personality traits between our different pets, and they continually show us aspects of having emotions because, like, for example, they can always tell when we're upset and they always try to make us feel better. Um, However, this doesn't prove correct to many people. There are still a lot of skeptics who question whether or not animals have emotion because they can't express themselves verbally like we do. So, as you can see in Paul Thagard's article in Psychology Today, Do Animals Have Emotions? A Debate, Thagard shows that um, he shows a dialogue between a skeptic and an advocate to see what they're questioning exactly when it comes to whether or not animals have emotions. So the advocate makes a valid point when they say that anybody who has ever had a pet can easily distinguish what makes a pet happy and what makes them upset or fearful. And they also bring up the brains of the animals and how they have a prefrontal cortex, except for insects and birds, because they're still researching this. And then the skeptic will argue that because humans have larger brains and prefrontal cortexes, that means that we can make more complex and rational decisions. But the advocate comes back with the argument that we're not talking about the complexities of emotions, just basic emotions like happiness, sadness, things like that. So animals' emotions rely mostly on their ability to show us how they're feeling, um, rather than obviously verbally telling us how they're feeling. A recent article in Psychologist World called Do Animals Experience Emotions tells us about the different ways that we can see emotion in experimental animals and wildlife animals. First, they identify the simple fact that we can't ask an animal, how do you feel when this happened to you, and get an actual answer. That, according to the article, is what they call the observational problem. They mention lab mice and how they often feel anxious. There's even a study done where the mice were choosing anxiety meds over a plain bottle of water, and you can read more about that in the article. Um, Elephants are proven to be one of the most empathetic species on planets. Different types of elephants show different types of emotion towards their peers, and there are plenty of studies and books written to prove this. Um, so do whales and dolphins, who have the most complex social structures most people have ever seen. They even have an area of the brain that humans don't have, and it's proven that they're completely aware of their sense of self. They have their own languages and have highly emotional lives. With all this evidence, I find it baffling that we are consciously and continually behaving in a way that hurts and affects these gentle, loving creatures in any type of negative way. I think that we need to be more conscious about our relationships with each other, no matter what the species. Animals depend on us to be their voice and express their needs, especially the ones in the wild and the ones that are suffering on farms and slaughterhouses. So the next time you pick up steak at a restaurant or, the burger, think about the cow and the fear and anxiety that it had to get to in order to make it onto your plate. Uh, so that pretty much wraps up my speech. Thank you all for listening.